Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on television. Here on The Point of View, we pick the right topics, we get the right guests, we ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. Tonight, we're going back to good old politics. The governing New Patriotic Party went to the polls in 111 constituencies within which it has no MP, i.e. they call these the orphan constituencies. Tonight, we'll find out the winners and losers, talk to some of the winners, and look at the chances of that party in wresting those seats from the NDC if they can. My guest in studio is my colleague Sammi Wiafe. We have quite a number of MPs to talk to. Also take you around the country to show you some of the keen races. Stay with us. Let's hear from you throughout the program.
Intestinal worms may cause itching, abdominal pains, loss of appetite, and anemia. Intestinal worms may enter the body through improperly cooked foods, dust, or contaminated soils. Wormplex 400 is an effective dewormer for both adults and children and can be taken at any time of the day. It is recommended to deworm periodically. 1 tablet of Wormplex 400 kills intestinal worms, roundworms, hookworms, tapeworms, and other intestinal worms. I recommend Wormplex 400 to you because it has worked for my family. Lactating mothers, pregnant women, and children under 2 years should consult their physician before taking Wormplex 400. Wormplex 400, as soon as Tamfo. This advert is FDA approved.
It's 19 degrees out here.
Just have a little bit of a sit down and have a little bit of a chill out, man.
Welcome back. So the NPP decided to split its primaries into 2 or 3, where they will start with what they call the orphan constituencies that the NDC held. Indeed, in Ghana's 275 strong parliament, the NPP has 137 seats, the NDC has 137, and then Femina is the seat held by an independent candidate, making 275. Of the 137 the NPP did not have, they went to primaries in 111. They will do the rest of the 26 later on. Some interesting names popped up. Some known figures in media won. A couple of interesting shifts as well. Sammi Wiafe has been following this race keenly. Sammi, any quick overview of why the party even separated the so-called orphan constituencies from where they have MPs? What was the reason behind that?
Good evening, Bernard. It's been the traditional convention of the party over the years that anytime there is parliamentary primaries, they always break it down into 2. The orphan constituencies, which is the constituency without sitting members of parliament, and then there are constituencies with sitting MPP MPs.
Okay.
The reason behind it is that they always do the Orphan constituency first because it's a seat the party is not holding. So it gives the candidates or whoever is elected enough time to campaign.
All right.
But in seats where the MPP has a sitting member of parliament, it is always done later on because they believe that MPP already holds the seat. So marketing and campaigning the candidates won't be much of a problem.
Okay.
The more reason why they always divide it into two.
Could it also be that the race for where the sitting MPs are will be tougher because presumably this will include their strongholds in Ashanti and Eastern, and usually there's a lot of interest in those seats, so they want to clear the easier ones first before they go for the big ones.
It is always the toughest one, especially where they are sitting members of parliament. That is where the division comes in. That's where the cracks come in. That's where the bickering and the apathy comes in. And so if the party is able to manage those ones well, it means the party is heading for victory in the election. But if they do not manage it well, that's where you have the problem. Because the sitting MPs, most of them will seek re-election. And when re-election is coming, there's always a challenge. A competitor is sitting in their constituency, doing all the campaign and the dirty work, while the member of parliament is in parliament helping the government. And so they believe that if care is not taken, the sitting member of parliament will lose faith with the people and get his or her competitor do the campaigning at the background while he's in parliament.
When we look at the regional breakdown, it will seem as if a lot of these so-called orphan constituencies are in the north, Volta region, some of the western, and then some greater Accra. There aren't a lot in Ashanti and Eastern. There's, I think, Bono and Ahafo, there are not that many as well. So it's Bono East and the north, Volta and Eastern. Did you have your top races you were looking at?
Yes, here in the greater Accra region.
Which were your top races?
So I had Ablekuma Central. I had Akwetia in the eastern region. I had Okankwe North here in the greater Accra region, and Lejokuku constituency.
Those were
my four top constituencies I was really looking out for.
Ablekuma Central, which features who?
Features Jefferson Sackey, the former member of parliament for the area, Ebenezer Nete, Collins Amwa, a party activist, and one businessman. I've forgotten the name.
So Jefferson is a presidential staffer?
Yes, the deputy director of communications.
Against a former MP?
Against a former MP.
Wow.
And this was a seat held by the MPP in 2016. In 2020, the MPP lost it. In history, the MPP has held the seat on 3 different occasions. The last time the MPP lost it was in the 2020 election. And so the MPP was looking for it to present a candidate they believe was going to help them win the seat back. They felt that the current or the former member of parliament wasn't a good material enough. And so they needed a new face, a new person. That's where
Jefferson
they brought in Jefferson Sackey.
It's one of the closest constituencies in our elections. It's always one of the constituencies that swing. So Ablekuma Central was one. Let's stay in Accra before we go to Eastern. Lejokuku was also one for you.
It was.
As was Okankwe North. So Adenta wasn't a big one for you.
Adenta wasn't a big one for me because from my conversation with a number of delegates and my visit to the constituency, I knew it was going to be a clear win for Akosua Manu. I had the opportunity to be part of a colleague of media people who were invited by Akosua to share her vision and insight for the constituency. After our interaction with her, we realized that she has a clear plan for the constituency. And even whilst we were there, the feedback she was getting from the constituents, it looked good for us. She had carried out 3 different surveys before the election. Contacted some private agency to run these surveys for us. She shared it with us and it all pointed at her direction. And so we're very confident that she was going to win that particular.
Interesting. The race was much closer. I'm going to talk to a winner in one of the constituencies that I consider very close. So this is a Sojaman. A Sojaman in the Eastern region has swung. It's moved between MPP and NDC. Kofi Seyameo has won it for the MPP before. It's currently held by an NDC NP.
Yes.
The name there there were 2 names I knew there, Pius Enam Hadzide and Paul Ansa. Paul Ansa has been trying for a long time to win that seat.
The former CEO of Port.
Yes, Ghana Ports and Harbours. And he's been trying, he's a former student leader as well. But Pius had tried to go to parliament in another seat.
I think Ketu North or South, one of them.
But apparently he was born or he lived in Sojaman.
Apparently that's where his mom comes from.
Do you have his margin of victory? He won pretty comfortably.
So he did. Per the figures available. So Michael Ernest Ansah, who was the MCE, or is the MCE as we speak.
Michael Ernest Ansah.
Yes, so he had 113 votes. Paul Ansah had 131. Pius had 423. And then Nana Abrakwa Asare had 95.
So a landslide for Pius.
A landslide. A lot of people thought if there was anybody who was going to give Pius a run for his money, it was going to be Nana Abrakwa. Nana Abrakwa is the executive secretary at the Premix Secretariat. And
he had how many votes?
He had just 95 votes.
I saw his billboards. You know, I was in a constituency on Saturday on my way from the Volta region. And when I heard I was shocked because, I mean, I didn't see Pius's posters until I got to some parts of the constituency.
He even came into the race very late.
Let's talk to him. He's on the line. Pius, thanks for joining us. Congrats on winning the primary for the NPP in Esojaman.
Yeah, Bernard, thank you for having me. And thank you. It was a difficult race, but we are grateful to God for his continued mercy. Thank you, Bernard.
When I heard that you were going to go for Esojaman, I was a bit shocked because the first time I knew you were running for parliament was in Ketu North, which is the constituency I am from. So, and I think you are from there too. So how did you end up in Esojaman?
Yeah, Bernard, you're right. Yes, I did have a stint with the Ketu North constituency in the Volta region in 2012. I was the party's parliamentary candidate. We did well in the whole of the Volta region. We performed the second best in terms of votes nominally and even in percentage terms. But Bernard, I have very, very strong relations with the constituency here in Esojaman. I grew up here. I went to school here. I taught physics and mathematics in Akosua Secondary School. I have property here. My family resides here in Esojaman. To all intents and purposes, I am a constituent. I am concerned about the welfare of my people. I have interacted and engaged with the people. They have seen what we have been able to do, the little we have been able to contribute, even though we are not in parliament, we have not been parliamentary candidates, but you go to areas in the community such as St. Methodist School, where we are helping to construct an AstroTurf park. You go to Boso, you'll find the Pius is constructing a school park for the secondary school there and for the community. You come to Enum, you'll find that we are doing provision of classroom desks. You come to Abume, we are assisting in the construction of a 6-unit classroom block for the people. You go to Apegusu, a bridge that links the secondary school to the community, which got broken for many, many years. We fixed it. We are building a youth resource center, and I can go on and on. So the people feel that even when you are not member of parliament, when you don't have the mandate, you have us at heart, and you do all these things to ensure the progress of the community. So why don't you come in and officially represent us? After all, we are not satisfied with the level of parliamentary representation that we have. And I listened, I consulted, I prayed over it. I entered into the race with some really, really great and fantastic men. Michael Ernest Ansah is actually the CEO of the Gear Deck.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And yeah, the big name in our country. Paul Ansah was a former candidate, former Director General of the Port and Harbour. My brother, Nana Abrakwa Asare, is administrator at the Premix Secretariat. And so these are really, really big names. And I knew that it was going to be a difficult race, but I also knew that the voice of the people was the voice of God. I knew that we had a clear message. We targeted the delegates. We shied away from the fanfare and the razzmatazz. And on Saturday, we had an emphatic victory, an endorsement of our Esojaman Rising agenda.
I am quite interested in the projects you're doing. This is just an internal race, and you're already doing AstroTurfs, you are doing schools. I mean, why are you getting the resources? And mind you, this is a very close constituency. It's a swing constituency which has swung between the two leading parties. So if you had to do this level of exertion to just win the primaries, Because usually such things are done in safe seats. Because in safe seats, when you win the primary, you know you won the election. But this is a very close race. Aren't you peaking before time with all the things you're doing, astroturfs and all these things that cost so much money?
No, Bernard. In fact, I had no intention of running to be MP in the beginning. And so these things that we have done and will continue to do not have politics as their foundations. I mean, this is public service, and I am playing my part to ensure that my community develops and my community becomes competitive. And so I think that it is rather these projects, these investments that have attracted the attention and got us into the minds of people. And so it was the people themselves who started asking that Pius come in and represent us. And so, Bernard, just like you, when you are committed to serving, when you are committed to helping to ensure that your community develops, you put some of your own resources available to do some of these things. You also engage with friends who can assist you. And finally, you leverage the opportunities that you may have. In my case, Chief Executive of the National Youth Authority, to ensure that the developments that you yourself are taking to other parts of the country, some of them come to your own community as well. Wow.
Finally, Esojaman is, I can call it a swing constituency. The only time NPP has won has been when Kofi Sayamea has represented you. All other times NDC has won it. It has mixture of Eastern Volta characteristics, even Greater Accra in a sense. How confident are you that you're going to be able to go beyond winning the primary to win the election?
Bernard, you are right. I mean, nobody said it was going to be easy. We understand that clearly, that winning Esojaman will be difficult, but we are committed to doing it. We won a difficult primaries, and so we can win, and we shall win the 2024 general elections. You are right about the Venerable Kofi Osamea, who has been able to do it twice for the New Patriotic Party, the first time in 2004 and again in 2012. You're also right about the characteristics and the dynamics in Esojaman, and that's why probably I am the most strategic candidate at this point. I'm an Ewe, I speak the language. The Ewes constitute about 44% of the constituency. The Akan constitute about 28% of the constituency. I speak the Twi language. I also have a working understanding of the Krobo language, and they constitute 13% of the constituency. And so I cut across quite fairly, and I see myself as a more strategic candidate, as everybody, almost everybody in the constituency can see themselves in me. But our strength will not lie only in our capacity to reach across the various ethnic divides. Our strength actually is in the messages that we are carrying. The fact that we have to be deliberate at the political leadership level about positioning Esojaman to become Ghana's tourism destination of choice. We have the flora, we have the fauna. We need a plan that can be packaged and marketed. Then we are discussing the issue of sports for health and wealth. That's a strong one, and the young people of our communities are very much attracted to the details of that campaign plan. We are also discussing improvements in our education and in our health. We are looking at creating a free zones area and an economic enclave. We want to leverage the real line between Tema and the port that is under construction at Impaka Dam. You know, the rail line between the Tema and Impaka Dam. There's a port that would then ferry heavy duty across the Volta Lake up north. And so we are hoping to create an economic enclave and a free zones enclave within the area to leverage and to impact the local economy and so on. So our real strength going forward to be able to win the elections lies in the quality of our messaging and our power to articulate clearly what the vision is. But generally, Bernard, you know the constituency well. You speak to anybody in a Sojaman, they are not impressed with the level of representation. People feel that we neither hear nor see from our member of parliament. We hear testimonies of other members of parliament, sometimes even in opposition, like Roxin Dafiamepo in South Dai. He also listened recently to Sam George during the NDC primaries. The testimonies they gave about how they were able to attract development, even though they were NDC members of parliament. But because of the character and nature of the Akufo-Addo Dr. Bawumia government, they are reaching out. But our MP and therefore our constituency...
Pius, the debate will start properly. I will bring your colleague MP and we'll have a proper debate. And this was just to give you a chance to talk about your victory. So I see you're already in campaign mode. But thank you very much indeed, Pius. Congrats again. Pius Enam Hadzide, the former Deputy Minister for Information, current Youth Authority CEO, winning quite handsomely the seat, or not the seat, the primary for NPP. The other one in your top four was Lejo Kuku.
Yes, Bernard.
Why was Lejo Kuku a big one for you? Because
Bernard Okoe Boye wanted to stage a comeback.
Okay.
He left Parliament in a bizarre circumstance, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
And so in his campaign, he touted it as Sankofa.
Sankofa.
And if there was anybody who was going to give Okoe Boye a run for his money, it was going to be Ibrahim Ejay.
Really?
Ibrahim Ejay is someone who is known within the political space for his activism in the Let My Vote Count Alliance.
I see.
A group of young men who were deeply involved in this 2012 election petition and the like. And he was coming from the Jubilee House. And it was believed that he had a machinery behind him one way or the other.
It was believed.
It was believed that he had a machinery behind him. And so if there was anybody who was going to give Okoe Boye anyone for his money, it was him. And then there was a Ghanaian who was living in the UK.
Yeah. And
he had decided to renounce his UK citizenship just to come and contest this particular primary. That's Collins Olenu. And a lot of people thought that he was more one way or the other helping with development within the constituency. And so he finally declared his intention to come and run on this ticket, give a lot of people hope. And so Okoe Boye was more or less had everything to lose.
And there was also Clifford Matekole, who was the constituency chairman.
He was first vice. At the time.
Supposedly from Okoe Boye's camp at some point.
Yeah, so apparently they fell out one way or the other. And so he was trying to use his base within the party.
So it was going to be tough for him.
It was going to be tough for him
to go against these three guys.
So the very day I saw the list of aspirants, I knew it was going to be a tough one for Okoe Boye. Was going to be
what was the result?
But it came out that Okoe Boye won handsomely, Bernard. Okoe Boye came out with 901 votes.
Okay. The next
as again, Collins Olenu, who had 357.
Wow.
Clifford Mate Kole had 199, and Ibrahim Ejay had 180 votes.
Wow. So it
was really a nice line for
I don't know if
Okoe Boye.
He's on the line. Bernard Okoe Boye, are you on the call? Good evening.
Yeah, already I'm here.
Congratulations. My colleagues were afraid for you. They thought, Charlie, your Sankofa thing, there were too many strong opponents. Was that the feeling in your camp as well? Were you nervous? Because your victory shocked quite a number of people in terms of its margin.
Yeah, already, first of all, good afternoon to all your viewers. Let me thank you for the opportunity. Let me thank God Almighty. Bible says that He knows the end from the beginning, and all the glory belongs to Him. So I just want to confess that all the glory should go to Him. Bernard, this is my third election that I'm actually participating in. I hope you can hear me.
You are loud and clear. Go ahead.
When you do a particular thing over time, you get to know what is important and what looks beautiful. So if you watch closely, I didn't talk to anybody in the media. Those who matter are a limited, known, identifiable group we call delegates. I listened to them. identify what their issues are. I also was very much keen and interested in what my opponents were saying and make sure I addressed all the issues. Not a week to the election, but even to the last day, because I finished my campaign the night before Saturday morning. And so I only thank God that He gave me wisdom to know what to speak to. And I'm grateful to the delegates that they made the world know that in primaries, it's not too much about what is being said in the air. It's what's on the ground. And those are my words, the few words I have.
Just a final point. Teshin or Lejokuku is not a very easy place. It's difficult to... I don't know if anybody has retained the seat as an individual. Parties have had to switch even internally. What are your plans for the main election? How do you see the race next year against the incumbent?
Yeah, already. First of all, let me also congratulate those who competed against me. I visited Honorable Ashe Olenu last night. I was with him and his campaign team. I visited Clifford Mate Kole, who was my senior MP, and I was billed to visit Ibrahim Ajay, but he had some other engagement, so we put it somewhere this week. So you can see that we have started the healing efforts. Lejokuku was very heated but very civil, and I would like to congratulate them for that. I've always said, and I've told all the delegates that Lejokuku is a difficult place for us. The NDC looks quite comfortable when you look at the presidential results. Even 2016, when I won, it was Domama who won the constituency with 45,000 votes.
Wow.
And I had 45, but Benita and Kuti had about 43. So it was actually skirt and blouse in 2016. In 2020, John Mahama had 59,000, but Jekubado had 50,000 votes. The difference is 9,000 votes presidential. Parliamentary, Benjamin Ayiku had about 55,900. I had 54,200 or so. So you realize that close to 5,000 people who voted for John Mahama voted for me. Mm. Now, what it means is that it's a constituency that requires greater outreach and making a solid case. That even if you think you are under the umbrella, the best way to get an impact on the community is Dr. Okoe Boye. And let me be frank, there are many people who voted for Benjamin Ayiku who were more or less NDC, I don't know whether to say fanatics or they like the NDC, but not that Benjamin Ayiku had done anything in the community. And as we speak, 4 years down the line, let your team go into the constituency and talk to them. His presence is almost zero, his impact is almost zero. So, I mean, it will continue to be greater outreach, a lot of hard work, and by the grace of God, the community would restore Okoe Boye. Look, it's not about me. Most of the projects I started, I think it is worth finishing them. I lobbied and brought the landing beach, the harbour. My people never dreamed that in their lifetime they could see a harbour where they could land properly and go for fishing. It's about 85% complete. There's a lot of engagement that must happen between Transport Ministry, National Security, and Finance for it to be completed. That's what I'm coming to do. Roads, apart from Lekma Road and some of the drainage that I started, most of the works have halted. When I was there, we had works happening at like 5 different places concurrently. Some of my people assumed that it was happening just by chance, or it was without any individual effort. Now all of them have realized that if they don't get an active leader to go and follow these projects, they will forget it. So I think a lot of people have learned by a negative experience, and if we continue to work hard and God is on our side, Bernard, I think there will be change in this coming election. Yeah.
We'll talk again. Thank you, Bernard Okoe Boye. He's the CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority.
Former Deputy
Health Minister now, NPP's candidate. We notice a lot of government officials within the agencies are contesting. Yeah. Maslog, Youth Authority, NHIA. Is that part of the plan of the government? Because I see a lot of these people, Okoe Boye, NHIA, we spoke to Pius, NYA, I think Kozie is also deputy something.
Deputy CEO for where Pius is. So she's deputy to Pius.
I think we'll speak to her as well.
At the National Youth
Is that
Authority.
part of, is that something is that a trend you've seen?
It's part of the exit plan. So for these individuals, obviously if there's a change in government, they will still hold the position they are holding now.
Okay.
So for them to still remain in public office or in the public space, let's shift attention from where we are to a different one, which is mainstream politics. So is that part of the exit plan for them to move from where they are to parliament now? Let's
talk about, is it Lejokuku, Ododio?
Yeah.
So Ododio has had Nilante going, Nilante Vanapoy against Nilante Banaman. Nilante Vanapoy said it wasn't going to go, and therefore people thought that, well, maybe there's a chance for Nilante Banaman. Interestingly, Nilante Banaman lost his bid to a new face. So I understand that I have the candidate for NPP. He's called Manaf Soa.
Yeah. It was one of my surprise outcomes in this election of Saturday, because then Nibana, as they call him in Odiodio, has been on the ballot since 2012. 2016 he was there in 2020. So the understanding was that if delegates wanted someone who could really snatch the seat for the NPP, it was going to be Nibana, because of his being marketability. He's been well known within the constituency. They've marketed him enough, and so bringing a new face was going to be a challenge. And the most interesting part was that the person who has always beaten him in all the election was not going to contest again. So this presented a very good opportunity for the NPP and Nibana to win the seat for the NPP. But the delegates decided to choose a different person, a known face altogether. So in 2024, both the NPP and the NDC are going to have new individuals faces on the ballot.
I think Manaf Soa is the name. He secured 737. He defeated Nilante Banaman, who had 524 out of 1,261. So it's a fairly strong victory.
Strongly won.
And he's not somebody we know in the media that much.
No, not at all.
So,
not at all.
Abdul, Manaf, thanks for joining us on The Point of View.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Is it fair to say you are a new face in the media, or is it my media that you are new to? Because I personally...
I'm new to your media.
You are new in the media, okay. But you are not new...
I'm new to your media. I'm new to your media.
You are new to my media, okay. But you are not new to all media.
Yes.
But you are not new to Ododio at all.
I'm not new. I'm not new.
So tell me a bit about what you've been doing up to now. For somebody who doesn't know you, have you always been working in the constituency? And what have you been doing before this election?
Okay, first of all, let me say a very big thank you for giving me this platform. And thank you to your viewers as well, and the good people of Ododio. I've been in the system for quite long. And over the years, I've participated actively in the constituency. Even though I've not been out there in the media, but the work is on the ground. I've been with the constituents, the delegates. They've seen my good work, and they've decided to reward me massively.
I see. Ododio has been tricky for NPP. I think apart from Nibi Ayibonte, who won it, I don't know if any NPP has won it. I followed that election very closely. NDC took it with... after Mankata died, his son went for NPP, didn't win. And we had Taki Kome. And then Nilante took over. And it's been quite a... even though NPP has closed the gap a bit, it's still been strong NDC. What is Manaf bringing to the table, and why is he sure that he can do better than Nilante Banaman?
Okay. I'm bringing a lot. I'm bringing a lot on the table. I'm one candidate that cut across both the Christianity and the Islamic religion. And moreover, to the constituency is divided into two, the commercial side and the residential side. And I cut across both the commercial side and the residential side as well. So I'm bringing a lot on board. I'm bringing a lot on board.
Because I know in the past, when I covered that constituency, Kolewoko at the time was where NPP used to do well. Kinka in English was NDC. They've opened it up now. There's Koledudo and a few others. So you are right. The commercial side, typically, Kantamanto areas, NPP would win. But when you go to the Amamumu and all those areas, NDC does very strongly. So yourself, where are you from? And what are you telling the people that makes you so sure that beyond beating Nilante Banaman, you can actually do better than NDC?
Okay, where I'm coming from the stronghold of the NDC. which is cowling, military government. And we all know when it comes to cowling, the NDC performs very well over there. Out of the 10 police stations, we managed to win only 2 and lost 8 police stations. That 8 police stations is almost 1,000 votes. We lost by almost 1,000 votes. And me coming from that side, I'm going to sweep all the 10 polling stations for the New Patriotic Party. Me being a Muslim as well, we all know the Muslim caucus in the constituency, they vote, I think 90% votes for the NDC. And I'm going to use my political, my religious affiliation to sway some of the votes for the New Patriotic Party as well. Well, the likes of Zongo, Old Padama and stuff. The Muslim community, yeah, that's right.
But we don't know who the NDC candidate will be yet. So it's very interesting that in your race, most of your colleagues in other races know who the opposition will be, but the other party hasn't selected yet. So maybe by NPP choosing you, it may even influence how NDC goes. I don't know.
All the candidates they have, none of them can match my qualities. All the 3 candidates they have. If it's 3 or 2, I think 1 is disqualified. But the 2 candidates, they cannot match me.
We have a long time to find that out. But thank you for talking to us. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you very much as well. Thank you very much.
Abdul, Manaf, so he looks youngish. Yeah, he looks like a young guy.
And he said he's a businessman.
Okay.
Not well known within the space, as he said, but then within the constituency, he's well known. But after Saturday, I spoke to a number of people who live in the constituency as to why they want to choose a new phase over someone who's been there since 2012. And they give me a number of reasons. From my understanding, it looks like it was clear sabotage on the part of the executives against Nibanama. So they felt that he has sidelined the executives in his day-to-day activities and then going with a new crop of people who are not even executives within the party. And so they believe that if he becomes the candidate, this sideline is going to happen and the party may not secure the victory. And so they want to clear him, bring a new individual who will listen to the executives and do whatever they want to do together as a united front.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So that was the understanding I got from a number of people I spoke to within the constituency.
It's going to be interesting. Point of view is focusing on NPP's primaries in their so-called orphan constituencies. Lots of politics coming up in the next few months. Sammi Wiafe is our correspondent who covers the NPP and the Flagstaff's house. We've spoken to some of the winners. We'll come back and do a bit more. Stay with us.
We're all more than just one thing. Like Grace here, the best teacher ever. She tries hard. When you're in front, of course, you have a following. While at home, she has a following that is sometimes harder to impress. Well, Minister of Home Finance, we're impressed. That's why we offer every kind of banking solution for every kind of you.
It's 19 degrees out here in
And just have a little bit of a sit down and have a little bit of a chill out, man.
can become a household.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.ugoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
Welcome back. Point of View tonight is looking into the NPP's primaries, 110 constituencies. They call them orphan constituencies, 26 more to go. And we are speaking to some of the winners. My colleague Sammi Wiafe is helping me to understand the issues. You mentioned that Jokuku was one of your key seats. Ablekuma Central was key. Akwetia was key. I'll come to Akwetia shortly. You also mentioned, did you mention Adenta?
No, I didn't mention
Adenta wasn't one of the big ones for you.
No.
Well, I follow Adenta because I happen to live there. And I know that the current MP is already interesting. Yeah. He is the brother of the second lady.
The second lady, yes.
So Abdul Ramadan is the NDC MP, and I think he's a two-time MP.
The first one. He came in 2020. He took over from Boabi Asamoah.
Wonderful. So Boabi was there to 2020.
Yes, from 2016 to 2020.
Wonderful. Now, in the MPP, Boabi Asamoah has even left the MPP now.
He's now with Afafranto.
Akosua Manu, known as Kozie Manu in the media, she's the Deputy CEO of the Youth Authority.
Yes.
She won the primary. Initially, it seemed as if it was a bit chaotic.
In the beginning.
Yeah, it sounded as if
it was a two-race between Akosua and Kwesi Obeng Fosu.
Was there a big margin? What was the result?
Okay, so Kwesi has 638, Kozie had 814.
So it was 200, but it's not that big. Yeah.
But it was from interaction with the delegates in their constituency. They had made their minds up already that they were going to vote for.
But if you make up your mind, it's 840, 600. That doesn't sound like they've made up their mind. That's a split. If it was 1,000 to 400, this is it's a close race.
But they wanted, and a few of them too said they wanted a woman. They believe a woman was going to
enhance their chances
because. Previously, the men the MPP had presented, only the woman they presented was Francis SCM, who couldn't win. Now they believe the constituency has expanded enough, and Kozie presents that unique opportunity for them. She has a grassroots, she has the corporate branding, which the party believed they needed, and so getting her on the nod was going to be their best bet.
She's on the line for a quick conversation. Kozie Manu, thanks for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, but the line is a bit unclear, so I'm struggling to hear you.
All right, so just how do you feel? How does it feel? You won with about 200 votes difference. How does it feel?
It feels, I think every time I get a call congratulating me, it reinforces the notion that I've done something amazing, but I didn't do it alone. I thank my team. I thank all the delegates in Adenta. I thank all my supporters, Pioneer. I thank you guys as well. And most importantly, I thank Her Excellency the First Lady for giving me her blessing to take up this challenge.
The MPP hasn't done too well in Adenta. How do you assess your chances against the incumbent?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
How do you assess your chances against the incumbent NDC MP in Adenta?
Okay, so one of the things that I believe is going to work well is the gender clash. Not just because of females, but the notion that the larger constituencies have is they believe that they have tried 5 male MPs. And they haven't seen much of a difference. But when the men represent them, they don't really see a lot of progress as far as development is concerned. And I think that what goes against the current NDP MP is the outcome of his election I mean, when you listen to the grapevine, it doesn't seem to have garnered majority support from his side even after the primary. So there's a bit of a challenge when it comes to regrouping. But it's no different for us as well, because the challenges that faced the NPP in 2020, if I'm not able to bring everybody together, it might happen again. So what I did by and large in my company was to focus on unity. One of my slogans was the Big Tent. Beyond Kozie Care, just pretty out there. The Big Tent was focusing on the fact that there are so many factions, but all the factions are represented in my team because I was not involved in the issues that plagued the party in the past and the constituency. So I believe that my biggest strength is being able to bring everybody together to work towards a common cause. It's not going to come easy, so I keep pleading to delegates, especially those who did not believe in my candidature, to believe in the party by and large, and let's all, drop our differences and forge ahead. I believe that will be our biggest, trump card against the NDC, which is a united NDC.
All right, thanks for talking to us. We didn't have a good line, so we'll end it here. Thank you, Akosua Manu. She won the NPP primary in Adenta, and
thank you.
She will be facing the current MP for NDC. He's been maintained in the primaries, Mohammed Adamu Ramadan. Very interesting. We will come back and see if we can get an interview with Jefferson Sackey for Ablekuma Central, and then see what else the picture paints. I think there was an interesting one in Asomasi as well, where another Manaf won. Yeah. He had been trying to go for a previous election. He had to even be pressed upon to step down or something.
That was in 2019.
And I think he won this time.
He won massively.
We'll see how that goes. All of this and more when we come back. Stay with us.
It's 19 degrees out here.
And just have a little bit of a sit down and have a little bit of a chill out, man.
Welcome back. We're still on the point of view. My colleague Sammi Wiafe is walking me through his top races. So far, he says Akwete was a top race for him. He mentioned Lejokuku as a top race. He didn't mention Adenta, but we spoke to Adenta, candidate-elect. He did not mention a Suojaman, but we also spoke to a Suojaman candidate-elect. He did mention, though, at the beginning of the program, Ablekuma Central, which is one of the bellwether constituency. So usually Ablekuma Central tilts. It's very difficult for one party to maintain it. The numbers are always very close. The gentleman who won is the Deputy Director of Communications at the Presidency in the person of Jefferson Sackey. Welcome.
Bernard.
You've been globetrotting. We've managed to catch you here. I hear you on some rounds.
Yes.
So we just caught you at front of the station and said, just come inside.
Well, it's part of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were... Are you from Ablekuma Central? Is that where you grew up?
Exactly. I mean, growing up, lived in New Russia.
New Russia?
Yes, in the Botry electoral area.
Okay.
And then my mother and myself also lived around Matahiko Trotro Station.
Okay.
Matahiko Mercy Clinic area. Started professional journalism actually at Latebio Koshi.
Radio Gold,
Blacksmith Down. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So explain the constituency to me. Russia is a bit close to Dansoman.
Yes, Russia.
And then just give me the areas in the constituency.
So basically the landmarks, key landmarks, starts actually at around Beyeman.
Yes.
On the Graphic Road.
Yes.
Drive through the Obechebilam Circle, through Kaneshi. On your left is Ablekuma Central.
So opposite
Okankwe South.
Okay.
So on your left will be Ablekuma Central.
Will you get to First Light?
You bypass First Light. All the way to Dansoman Junction. Hansonic. You climb
and that main road.
Yes. When you get to the sharp curve.
Yes.
You don't go towards Dansoman. You go straight through the Mass Business College area. Into New Russia.
Okay.
You turn right all the way through to Mostoli Hat.
Okay.
The street that separates Mostoli Hat on your left, the left side is Ablekuma Central, the right is Ablekuma West.
So you border Dansoman on one side, you border Kaneshi on another side.
On the other side.
And then you border Ablekuma
South.
On another side.
Yes.
So your Russia is the southern border.
Yes, the Russia is the southern border. Then you go all the way through the Banana Inn.
Okay.
Drive through Radio Gold. You know, and then through Nkrumah Flat.
Yes.
You go down to the Kolebu.
Yes.
You know.
So Bishop Bowers is on your right.
Yes, Bishop Bowers is on your.
And then you get to that traffic light and turn left as if you are coming to ICGC.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a highly urbanized.
Yeah, it's a highly urbanized area.
Wow.
You're looking at a voter population of about 124,000 people. So basically.
How long have you been eyeing the seat?
Well, for eyeing, I should tell you that it's just been over a year now.
Just a year?
Yes, just a year, the eyeing of the seat. But, I mean, it's you need to know things happening in the constituency in terms of your ability and your strength to be a formidable force to reckon with within the party itself.
Okay.
I mean, there should be some basic things that you might have gone through in terms of nurturing the constituency and all those things. And all those things are things that I've done.
Well, nurturing the constituency means what?
Well, I mean, your contribution to the constituency, your contribution to the party and all that. And we've been doing this, you know, all the way from 2007.
You have many big billboards. I've seen, I mean, you are one of the people who has produced a whole document. This is just a parliamentary primary.
Yes.
You have money, Bao.
No, it's not about money. It's about taking the people serious and having a good plan and a strategy.
Wow.
And I think that is really what helped in this particular election. I mean, we've been doing this for quite a while, from 2007 through the 2008 election.
So you've been covering elections,
of course.
And now you want to be covered.
Helped elections in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and all those things. So I think it is the strategies that, you know, we might have learned from all these years is what, you know, did the magic.
But it was much closer than your main opponent was a former MP, Nina Nate, I think his name.
Yes, Ebenezer Nina Nate, who's been a former member of parliament, you know, won 3 consecutive primaries, you know, within the party, you know, lost 2 general elections and won 1 in the 2016 election. And so he was actually a real force to reckon with. But the results...
And it was that close, 539, 441.
Yeah. And I think the surprise basically was, you know, the other opponents, Colin Samoa, who did extremely well, you know, a well-known businessman in the community, came, saw it, and he basically...
Why are all
did a lot.
CEOs, presidential staff, why are you, they say, running to parliament? Almost everybody I've interviewed today. Of course, Okoe Boye is NHIA, Pius is NYA, Kozie is NYA. You are deputy director. Your boss, Eugene Ahin, is also. What's going on? Is it the president who told you to go to parliament?
No. For me, it's the influence from, you know, my boss, the president of the republic. I've been working with him for all these years, and I think that the best that he could have done for all of us basically is for him to influence us positively. And I think that is what we are saying. I mean, if you work with a leader who is very diligent and committed to his work, basically some things of his influences, you know, your decisions in life. And, you know, Parliament is about law and communication, right? And so I think that, I mean, these are some of the things that we can do to support, you know, our community. So my main focus is what I want to do for Ablikuma Central constituency, you know, selling my message of hope and a new energy to them. The welfare system within our political tradition wasn't really doing well. And so I introduced this whole, you know, welfare support program, and so far it's been very good. And I'm sure, delegates are very excited about it.
So you are taking care of delegates?
Well, we are taking care of ourselves.
But where do you get all the resources from?
I mean, you would bear with me that politics is about, you know, people believing in you, right? And I must say that I have quite a number of people who strongly believe in my capabilities and my abilities to.
So they donate money to you?
Of course.
How are you going to pay them back when you win?
You do not necessarily have to pay them back. I mean, for example, all the billboards and my posters you see in the whole of Ablikuma Central constituency, supported by the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association.
Really?
Yes, there's a group called the NPP Volunteer Group.
Within the spare parts?
Within the spare parts. I mean, they took charge of, you know, everything, communication, the printing of my brochures and all that. So it is just a matter of having people believing in your capabilities, right? And the fact that they tell you about their challenges, and they think that you are in a very good position to support or be a mouthpiece for them, you know, when they need be. So basically that's what it is.
Well, the main race is ahead. We wish you well.
Yes, Bernard.
It's been a very close race. Sammi, let's end with the last one. You mentioned Okankwe North.
Yes.
What was going on there?
It was going to be a tough one because you had about 6 people who were running for that particular slot. Yeah. So there was a former member of parliament, Issa, who was staging a comeback. Issa Husseini. There was a sitting member of parliament in another constituency who wanted to Amadokua. There was a deputy CEO for Maslok who was also coming, and 2 other candidates, Sewakoto. There was one gentleman who said his name was just chairman.
There was also Ken Crunchy. Ken
has been trying for long. Ken has been a serial contender in this constituency. I think this will be his 4th time.
And he lost miserably. Who won that one?
Amadokwa, of course. She had 341 votes.
Has that happened before? A sitting MP in another constituency winning a primary in a different constituency?
Yes. Boniface Sedek Abubakar. He moved from Salaga, then Salaga constituency.
But he wasn't MP of Salaga at the time.
I think he was.
No, he was not. I think when he came, Madina, NPP had lost Madina for a long time. And they wanted somebody to...
Okay, so he moved from Salaga
They wanted somebody to uproot, what's the name?
Sorogo.
So he was not in parliament.
He was in parliament then. Okay, then
so maybe our research team can find out if there's ever been a current MP moving... I mean, unprecedented.
And per the NPP constitution, which I have a copy here, the party says in instances like this, the national executive do have the power
to make that choice.
To make that particular choice. So for my investigation, she spoke to the executives who decided to give her that.
But you didn't know her there?
Yes, apparently she lived there.
Okay.
She schooled there, growing up there, and her dad has.
So that's her urban residence. Her hometown is a
so she even has a house there. She's bought a house there. Okay. That's where her dad lives.
So her place in Accra is there.
Yes.
But Ekropong is a hometown.
It's a hometown.
Okay.
So the more reason why she identified with the people in that particular constituency, and her dad is very influential in that area. So
but NDC took that seat for the first time from MPP in 2020.
Yes.
So it's going to be an interesting one.
It was a seat MPP had for many years. The current mayor of Accra, Elizabeth Sackey, was a member of parliament for that area for 3 terms.
And then Issa Husseini took over. And then for the first time, NDC took over.
Yes, Issa won in 2016, 2020, and MPP lost. And then Teresa Awuni came in. So they believe that Dokua, who has lived in that constituency and grew up there.
So Teresa Awuni versus Dokua?
Yes, that's how it's going to be like.
Next time, come and let's talk about the president and the government and the MPP. Today you are doing your constituency, so I won't push too much, but there's a lot to ask you. It's good with Kozie. We should chain him yesterday, he just run away. So we talk to him about...
He will come more often. Now that he wants to be an MP of Parliament.
No, he won't talk about the government.
But he will come and they will corner him.
At the appropriate time, we'll do
Thank
that.
you, Jefferson.
Yes.
Sammi, always good to have you. We've been talking to Sammi Wiafe, who's our correspondent covering the NPP elections. Brilliant job. There's a lot more happening on Citi, where we'll be telling you what happens in the next phase. The big one is in January, or is it February? Where you have the sitting MPs going. That's where it's going to be very interesting. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.